Hi book lovers, it's Jenny at Julia Baby Jen, and this is Friday Reads. Today is Friday, March 10th, and I'm going to be talking about what I'm reading this weekend, and I'm shooting this on a Friday again. Yay! So that's awesome. Alright, so I'm in the middle of a couple different books right now. I'm actually almost exactly in the middle of this book, Glitter by April Lynn Pike. I am really enjoying this book so far. I'm about halfway through it. This is a futuristic dystopian story. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Lunar Chronicles in the sci-fi and tech, and then the royalty aspect that you see a little bit in Cinder as far as the Queen of Luna and all that. So it reminds me a little of that, but just kind of the feel. It's a very different story. This one takes place in Versailles, and basically it's a futuristic story. In the future, there's been famine and drought, and so the world is short on food supply. This company comes up with a solution and creates this food product and becomes super rich in the process. And they basically trick the French government into selling them the Palace of Versailles. So they've taken that over as their headquarters, and the only loophole was to keep it historically accurate. So inside the Palace of Versailles is all of the people who have worked for the company or own shares in the company or have something to do with this company, and they're a select few. It's really hard to get in to the society, but they live like they would if they were in the Baroque area with like Marie Antoinette and that kind of thing. So they dress, they live that way, but they also have technology. So they have robots and stuff like that too. So that's the loophole where they were actually able to seize the Palace of Versailles. So this is a girl who basically they and her family kind of ended up inheriting their spot in this palace. She doesn't really want much to do with it. And her mother is blackmailing the prince, or the king, I guess, into marrying her daughter Danica, who is the main character. She witnessed him doing a crime, and so she's threatening him, blackmailing him. He has to marry her daughter Danica. Danica wants nothing to do with this, but she's kind of forced into it. And of course, she wants nothing to do with this king. He's a bad guy. So she's trying to buy her way out, basically into like a witness protection program, and it's illegal, the company that she wants to do it for, and it's going to cost her 5 million euros. So in her way of trying to get this money, she found this drug called glitter, and she's trying to deal this drug in the palace to buy her freedom. So it's really interesting because it's so futuristic and with the technology, but then it's also, they have all the old-fashioned dresses, and the way of life is very much of the Baroque era. So it's kind of interesting in that. It's a little bit slow moving, but it's captured my attention, and I'm really into it. And I'm really enjoying this. Anyone who's into the Baroque area and Marie Antoinette and French history and all that would, I think, really like this. The danger that's added with her trying to sell these drugs and get away from this evil king adds more to it as well. And then the futuristic vibe with the technology and everything. Outside the Palace of Versailles, the world is normal. It lives like normal, you know. People dress like normal, act like normal. They have higher technology. But it's just in the Palace of Versailles that they do this. So it's kind of an interesting concept. So yeah, I'm enjoying this, and I'm hoping to finish this tonight. And then I just started, I'm barely into it, The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I'm really excited to finally be reading this book. I've heard this is an amazing series, and it's all out now. It's a trilogy, and the last book just came out. So it's time to read it. So reading this. So this is a fantasy novel, and in this land, we're following this main character. Her name is Kelsey, and she is the queen of the Tearling. Her parents have died, and she's been hidden away in this cottage in the forest for her whole life, being raised by this foster parents, basically, to get her ready to be a queen. But with assassination attempts and everything, she's basically been hidden away. Well, she's now 19, and the book starts with her being picked up by the royal guard. She's now officially queen of the Tearlings, and she's going to the palace to take over. So it sounds like it's going to be quite a journey. It's interesting because the royal guard, even though they're sworn to protect her and everything, really, they don't believe in her. I mean, it comes across pretty quickly that they do not respect her at all, that she's going to have to earn her way to be this queen. So yeah, so far it's really good. I'm excited for this. I'm also reading 80 Days by Matthew Goodman. I've been reading this for a little while. I'm almost halfway through it. This is a nonfiction account of the history-making race around the world between Nellie Bly and Elizabeth Bisland. They were both newspaper reporters in the late 1800s, and Jules Verne, of a book Around the World in 80 Days, had been out for a little while, and basically their prospective newspapers decided to put them in a race to see if they could actually make it around the world in less than 80 days. And they're racing each other too. So it's kind of a cool thing, and I'm really enjoying this. I've learned a lot about women's journalism in the late 1800s. I didn't even know there was women journalism in the late 1800s, and to learn more about how women got their start in this industry is really interesting. I'm really liking this. This is a great feminist book. So yeah, that in itself is really interesting. And then, of course, the traveling part is cool, too. Of course, they're racing, so they're not getting to see very much, but they're going because they're trying to go quickly. But yeah, it's interesting. And then on Kindle, I'm getting ready to start Nil by Lynn Matson. This is a Pick It For Me book that my bestie Karen picked out for me to read this month, so I'm excited to read this. I've had this on my Kindle forever. Basically, this is just like an island where people are on this island. It's sort of like, it sounds a little bit like Survivor, dystopian society type thing, and you're only granted 365 days on this island before you either have to escape or you are killed, I believe. So you're only allowed to live there for 365 days or some weird thing. So the main character, this girl, wakes up and she's on this island. She can't remember anything, but she's now on this island that's the case. So I'm interested to find more out about this story. It sounds really good. And then after I get through a few of these books this weekend, my next pick I'm going to read is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. I had actually started this on audio a while ago, and I picked it up from the library because I really wanted to get it finished. This is a YA detective story. Basically, it's presuming that Watson and Holmes actually did exist, and these are their descendants, Charlotte Holmes and Jamie Watson. They're at this private school, and a murder happens, so they're teaming up to try to solve the mystery. So far, I really like it. It's really interesting. And that is what I'm reading this weekend. Leave me any comments below on what you are reading this weekend, and if you'd like to talk about any of these books, I'd love to do that as well. I hope everyone has a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.